Hi, this is Kristen from eartrainingandimprov.com, where piano teachers come for fun resources and training that give kids the skills they need for a lifetime of enjoyment at the piano. Today I've invited you to my kitchen to talk about 4 simple steps that make teaching the fundamentals to kids as easy as a piece of cake. Now imagine that you came to visit me in my home and I had this lovely red velvet cake. It's got thick cream cheese frosting and is super moist inside. So I ask if you'd like a piece and you say yes, so I serve you a piece. Now, how excited would you be to eat this cake? Now, I want you to know that this would never happen if you came to visit me at my house. I would serve you a nice piece of cake. But I did this demonstration to drive home the point that presentation does matter. So I want you to remember that, and I'm going to go get cleaned up, and then we'll talk a little bit more. Now this piece of cake just taught us that presentation does matter. For a lot of kids, practicing their scales and learning the fundamentals is just as unappealing as this piece of cake is to you and me. Why? Because they're boring. Now before I teach you the 4 steps, let's take a step back and talk about why scales are so important. So scales teach kids' fingers how to navigate the keyboard, give kids a sense of tonality, understanding how one tone relates to another. And it makes it easier for them to learn the pieces that you assign out of their method books because their fingers already know where to go. They understand how music is constructed when they understand scales. Let's take another step back and look at the even bigger picture. Why do you teach piano lessons and what is it that you hope to accomplish? If you were visiting me in my home and we were talking face to face and I asked you, what is your big dream? What do you hope to accomplish with your piano students? What would you say? Well, through my website, I have trained and interacted with thousands of piano teachers, and I can tell you that most of them have 2 main aspirations. First, they hope to have a positive impact on their students. They hope their students will enjoy studying with them and look back on them as someone who had a positive influence on their lives. Their second aspiration is they hope to inspire a lifelong love of music in their students. So as a collective group, how do you think we're doing with these 2 goals? I can tell you from my experience that I think we're doing a phenomenal job with the first goal. The teachers that I've met are wonderful people and they care a lot about their students and their students love them. With the second goal, I am a little concerned. One study showed that about 80% of piano students drop out before completing book 2. And even the students that make it past book 2, they get to the point where they are learning pieces out of their method books more and more advanced that take weeks to master and then consistent practice to maintain. Now think about when they get to be adults. The reality is that most of our piano students will not go on to pursue a career in music. So when they get older and they have a career and a family, will they have time to continue in this way? You know, when I was a teenager, I had an experience where I was out with some friends and I'd taken piano lessons for several years and got to the point where my pieces were more advanced and required a lot of time. Well, it was summer vacation and I hadn't looked at them for a while. Well, my friends said, hey, there's a piano here in the room, why don't you play something for us? Well, I was really embarrassed because I realized in that moment that I couldn't play anything. I was humiliated and frustrated, thinking, what was the point of so many years of lessons and all that money, and then without a piece of sheet music in front of me, I couldn't do anything? I thought that if I really understood my instrument, I should be able to make music. Well, I determined that what happened to me will never happen to my students. So I started working on a system that I could use to teach even very young beginners how to create music at the piano. And that all starts with knowing their scales and chords. I have had phenomenal success with this system, and it's taken scales, something that kids used to think was boring and they would dread or forget to practice, and turned it into something fun that they enjoy doing. So here's my simple 4-step process that makes teaching scales to kids as easy as a piece of cake. So first, it needs to be fun. You need to present the scales and introduce them in a way that makes it sound like something exciting and something that's going to benefit them. Another thing that I do that's worked really well for me is I associate each scale with a cartoon character. And my students are so excited to learn each new scale that goes with each character. It's something so easy yet so effective. Second, needs to be easy. Don't start with something complicated with tricky fingering or having to cross the thumb under. I start with pentascales. That way my kids get to learn each new scale and get to know their way all around the keyboard. Also, it needs to be easy for them to remember how to practice at home. You don't want them to forget as soon as they get home, then they won't practice. So I send home picture diagrams so they know where to place their fingers. Next step is we need to track their progress. Kids stay motivated when they can see their accomplishments and feel like they're progressing. The last step is to apply. You need to show kids why it's important. Teach them how scales benefit them, and my favorite way to apply is piano improv. When kids learn that they can create their own fun music using scales and chords, they are so excited to learn their scales. So, FETA. Now what does cheese have to do with piano scales? Nothing, it's just an acronym that worked. But I hope it helps you remember fun, easy, track progress, and apply. So, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about applying the piano scales to creating music. Well, there are two main reasons why piano students aren't learning how to create their own music and improvise at the piano. And the first reason is that they don't know the formulas, they or their teachers. And the second reason is that they lack confidence. They don't believe that they can create something that sounds good. So in my next video, I'm going to start talking about the formulas and teach you the formulas for creating music. But right now, let's go to the keyboard and tackle that confidence issue. I'm going to teach you a really fun piano improv duet that you can use with your students at their very next lesson. It's so easy and so simple. They can master it within less than 5 minutes of that precious lesson time. And it is so fun and makes them sound so great. My students ask for this at every lesson. It's that much fun. So let's head over to the piano and we'll get started. So here we are at the piano, and I'd like to show you that fun and easy first activity that you can teach to your students to get them started improvising at the piano. It's so easy because all the students need to do is play any black key and it's going to sound great. You're going to play with your students. I'll first show you the teacher part, and then I'll show you how it sounds when you and your student play together. So the teacher part sounds like this. So all this is we're switching between 4 different chords. We've got G flat, and our left hand is just going to play the root, E flat minor, B major, and D flat. So we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now let me show you what this sounds like when we get our students playing a duet with us. For this example, I've asked my husband to come and play with us, and James, why don't you tell them, how much experience do you have at the piano? Are you a piano player?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I took 2 years of piano, and I guess in the classic case of giving up after those 2 years, so it's my fault. I enjoy the piano, I love the piano music, and I love what you can do, but no, I'm not a piano player.
So we did one quick run through of this before we started filming. That was his first introduction to the activity, and we'd like to just show you how easy it is even for someone who is not a piano player at all. So let's go ahead and you can get your hands up here and we'll play our duet together. Excellent, very nicely done. So when you're first introducing it, you can just tell your students to play any black key. If they want a little bit more guidance, you can tell them that G flat is their home base, it's the tonic. So just tell them home base is G flat and visit it frequently. And when you want to end your song and make it sound final, go to that G flat. Now that was just one example of how easy and fun it is to start creating music at the piano. When you teach piano scales to kids, you turn them into better players. Remember that the 4 steps for teaching fundamentals to kids are FETA: fun, easy, track their progress, and teach the application. And remember that it's as you teach the application that you really give kids the skills they need for a lifetime of enjoyment at the piano. In my next video, I'll start teaching you some of the formulas that you can use with your students to get them creating. I want to tell you that your students are capable of far more, and that you can open up a whole new world of exciting piano playing for them. You as a piano teacher are important, and what you're doing does make a difference in the lives of your students. I invite you to take a moment and reflect on what is your big dream. What do you hope to accomplish with your students? My experience tells me that if you can't verbalize it, you can't create it. So I invite you to take just a moment and leave a comment below. Tell me, what is your big dream? What do you hope to be remembered for? I will read every comment and I will reply. This is Kristen from eartrainingandimprov.com, and I will see you in a few days.